We're quickly approaching that time of year where people start hunting unicorn bottles. Your BTACs, Wellers, Pappies, Old Forester birthday bourbons. But I think there's a new wave of unicorn bottles and allocated bottles that are still on the shelves today, but for how long? Let's get right into this one. How are y'all doing today? My name's Chris. Welcome back to Bourbon Sane. Winter is coming. That means bourbon hunting season is upon us. If you're like me, I'm sick of waiting in lines, watching my phone every 2 seconds to see if some bourbon page posts about a new drop that happened somewhere. I want to find some bottles that I think are going to be allocated in the future that I can actually find now. That's what we're going to be talking about today. I compiled a list of 5 bourbons that I think in the near future could be considered unicorns, or at least very difficult to find and allocated in most markets. As of today, at least in Michigan, and hopefully in most of the country, all these bottles are going to be pretty attainable. And the best part is they're actually affordable too. I think everything on this list is $50, $60 or under. But I thought this would be a great idea. I love the idea of this video because I'm constantly looking for that next big thing, that next best value bourbon that I don't have to hunt for. I don't have to wait in line for. I'm not going to have to stress out about trying to find it. Like, I'll actually be able to go to my store, pick it up, or at least have a chance at getting it without being too worried about it. So we've got our top 5 today, but I'd love to hear from you. What are those bourbons you think are going to become allocated in the future, or at least difficult to find that you can find now? Let me know down in the comments below. Let's jump right into number 5. Okay, these are in no particular order at all, but we're going to jump right in with number 5. And for me, that's going to be aged Knob Creek products. This is the 12-year, but honestly what I want to put on the list today is the Knob Creek Single Barrel Reserve, the store picks. The stuff you'll find on your shelf for the Single Barrel Reserves, 120 proof, 9 years. And if you remember, not that long ago, these store picks were easily always between 10 to 15 years. Nowadays, I can almost never find a 10-year Knob Creek Single Barrel Reserve store pick. They're almost always 9. So it's really unfortunate. But the value you'll get on those store picks and the juice that's in the bottle, even at the 9-year age statement, wonderful, wonderful. Still between $50 and $60. A lot of markets can get it around $50, which is just great. If you're hunting bourbon and you're looking for those single barrel picks, like I'm constantly wanting to get single barrel picks, look for the aged Knob Creek picks. Knob Creek 9s are still showing up in almost every single market all the time. For me here in Michigan, like I said, when I see them drop now, they're mostly 9-year. And that's because of these age-stated labels they're coming out with now at Knob Creek. The 12-year, which, for the record, this is only a $50, $60 bottle too. But this is harder for me to find. It's not quite allocated yet for me here in Michigan, but I've talked to people in other markets that say this is available everywhere too. But specifically, if you can find those 12-year to 15-year Knob Creek Single Barrel Reserves, I've had some of those that really could hold up to incredibly high-proofed bourbons that are allocated from other distilleries, Buffalo Trace, in blinds, and they're really, really good. So, if you ever see one of those, it's an instant buy. Coming in at number 4, we have a distillery that I think is very up and coming, and maybe they've even arrived now. You can let me know what you think. Bardstown Bourbon Company, and specifically, I'm talking about their Discovery Series. So they do some really, really cool stuff over at Bardstown. They've been around now for many years, but they're still considered, I think, a craft distillery. Their Discovery Series specifically, they have, I think, 13 releases now of it, and they are a little pricey, between $100 to $140 depending on the market. But I don't think I've had a bad Discovery Series from Bardstown ever that I can imagine. I haven't had all 13, of course, but what I love about Bardstown, and at least in their Discovery Series specifically, is they take whiskey from multiple different companies. So they're blending what they think are the best barrels from all different distilleries. They'll use Tennessee whiskey. Of course, it doesn't state which distilleries, but you can see mash bills. So I love the transparency on the bottles as well. But it shows Kentucky, Georgia, Tennessee, all the different places they could be getting it from, Indiana. And what they do is they blend to where they think it's going to be best. I mean, they have some super old stuff in their mash bills they'll put in, and other stuff will be pretty young, or it'll be their own distillate. And whatever they do, whoever's in charge of blending over there, they're doing good. They know what they're doing. Bardstown kind of gives me that vibe of like an early Willet. If you think about Willet when they first started, they didn't have the hype and the crazy reputation that they do now, that everybody's looking for those purple tops that are impossible to find. But I think Bardstown is kind of taking that similar trajectory and that similar, I guess, path, if you will, to where I think someday some of their releases, especially their higher end releases, maybe even above the Discovery Series, they're going to be allocated bottles everyone's going to be looking for because they're really delicious. Coming in at number 3, a bourbon from my favorite distillery, and those of you that watch the channel you know, Russell's Reserve Single Barrel Picks. And the reason I'm including this is, yes, they are available everywhere right now, but once again, let's talk about age. Same with the Jim Beam 9-year Single Barrel Reserve. I'm pretty much only seeing these picks now at the 8-year age. It's unfortunate because, I mean, yes, I think this bottle drinks above its age almost always in these picks when I try them. An 8-year bourbon, I think, tastes at least 10 years plus to me. So I think, of course, I love these single barrels. It's probably my favorite type of single barrel pick, store pick out there. So I'm not talking down on it at all, but still around $60 for these. Can't really go wrong with them. But I am seeing 8-year now. So again, if you can find anything above 8 years for these picks, for me it's an instant pickup even at 8 years. I got a whole bunch of 8-year picks already of this. But if you can find these that are above 8 years, I think they're going to get more and more difficult to find in general. I think a lot of these single barrel pick barrels are probably being blended in with some of their older expressions now. They're rare breed, blend to 8, 10, and 12-year-old bourbons. And then they just released the Wild Turkey 101 8-year label. So they're probably using some of that juice from those barrels in the 101 as well. I know Wild Turkey's got a lot of barrels laid down, so it's not a huge issue, luckily. But if you can definitely see anything above 8, 9 years on these picks, it's going to be an instant grab for me. Even the 8 years an instant grab for me. But I think in the future, we may only see 8-year labels, or their single barrel program will be consisted of pretty much only 8-year bottles. So anything above it, grab it now. Coming in at number 2, maybe my favorite craft whiskey company, honestly, Sagamore Rye. Now this is the 7-year cask strength, but specifically I'm referring to their older expressions and what I think could become unicorns someday. They last year put out a 9-year age-stated Sagamore Rye. Wonderful stuff. Wonderful stuff. Didn't get a bottle, unfortunately, but got a sample and I loved it. The 10s are just starting to creep into the market now. I'm really hoping to get my hands on that, or at least get a sample to try of that too. But I think in the future, those are going to be very, very difficult to find. The older expressions from Sagamore. Once people jump on the Sagamore train and they realize what Maryland Rye is all about and the flavor profile it can give you as compared to Kentucky Rye or, Canadian Rye like Alberta Rye, I think Sagamore is going to be the next big thing. Kind of like I discussed with Bardstown. I think this company, if they want another one, if they haven't arrived already, they are right on the cusp. Right on the cusp of one of those distilleries, at least outside of Kentucky, that's a considered craft, that is going to have some incredible bottles, and they already do. If you can find a 9-year from last year or a 10-year when they come out this year, it's an instant pickup for me. Instant pickup for me. Those bottles are not cheap, kind of like the Discovery Series, about 100 to 120-ish from what I've seen. But I think in the very near future, probably, those are going to be considered allocated bottles, and people are going to be paying pretty good money on secondary to try to get them. Before we talk about our number 1 bottle that could be allocated in the future, do me a favor and please like this video, subscribe to the channel, let me know what is that bottle you think is going to be allocated in the near future. Our number 1 choice for a bottle that's going to be allocated soon, Jack Daniel's Barrel Proof and the Barrel Proof Rye. So I think either one of these could qualify and fall into this category. At the Barrel Proof Rye and Barrel Proof Bourbon level, as far as value for what you're getting in the bottle, I don't think there's a better choice for either one. I love the Jack Daniel's Barrel Proof Bourbon and Rye at about $60 still in most markets. Some are getting it sub 60, I've heard. And I think there's no better barrel proof at that value. I really don't. You can argue some of the 1792 picks are really, really good, of course. And those are about the same price, maybe a little bit cheaper depending on the pick you're getting it from. But I think in the future, and again, talking about these store picks, I've had some incredible Jack Daniel's barrel proof store picks. I mean, stuff that would hold up in blinds to Stag Juniors, arguably even George T. Stagg. I wouldn't say it's quite to that level, I wouldn't, but I've had some that are incredibly delicious. Incredibly delicious. And I know it's a fan favorite for a lot, but I think given that it's a Tennessee whiskey, it kind of gets a little bit of that, a bad rap, I guess, if you will, because you think about Jack Daniels, at least someone that's been in bourbon for multiple years, you think about Jack Daniels, old number 7, you're like, oh, that's bottom shelf whiskey now. Before then, Jack Daniels was considered top shelf whiskey for me, in college. I didn't know any better. But you think about old number 7 now, and it's kind of like bottom shelf, but then you move on to some of these single barrel picks. And the regular single barrel picks at 90 proof or whatever it is, still good, but this is their sweet spot. Barrel proof picks, someone that's been in bourbon a long time, love them. Love them at $60. And we may be able to find these bottles in the future still, but it's not going to be $60. The price will go up on these eventually, and if you can still get them at $60, you got to do it. Alright, well, this was a lot of fun for me. I hope you guys enjoyed the video too. Let me know down in the comments below, what should I have included? What did I miss on this list? What would you have added? What would you take out of what I included? I want to hear your feedback, so let me know. If you haven't yet, please do check out the website, bourbonsane.com. A lot of really cool content over there, and behind-the-scenes stuff too. If you prefer written content, that's your place you want to check out, because there's a lot of reviews, news, articles, that kind of stuff. And I'm loving it, man. I am loving it. I appreciate each and every one of you being here. Thank you so much for joining me today. Stay insane.